Welcome to the Ferment podcast. My name's Mike O'Brien. I am guest hosting today for a series we're calling A Week in the Life Worship Leader Edition. So today's guest is Catherine Michael from the Franklin Vineyard, Franklin near Nashville, Tennessee. Say hi, Kat.
Hello. Hi, Mike.
Good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So we're at the national conference. I don't know when this podcast will air, but we're at the national conference, and they ran out of rooms. They kicked us out of the podcast room, so we are now in the Michael family minivan.
It's amazing.
Facing forward. So Kat and I are facing forward, looking out the window, doing a podcast.
This is totally normal.
It's
normal.
Amazing. It feels very vineyard.
It is.
So welcome to A Week in the Life, Worship Leader Edition. We want to explore the daily lives and kind of weeks of a vineyard worship leader, like different leaders from various church sizes and staffing levels, and kind of what it takes to prepare for the week, where you're at, and who's involved, and what are the challenges that you face. Maybe talk a little bit about the idealized week, what that would look like, and then delve into the dreams and challenges that come with this role. So welcome, Kat. Thanks for joining us. So tell us a little bit about where you're at. Tell us about the context of the Franklin Vineyard, how long you've been there, and what's going on there?
Yeah. So we have been, me and my husband, and we have 4 kiddos. We have been at the Franklin Vineyard for 17 years now.
Wow.
Quite some time. And I oversee our worship ministry, worship pastoring that crew there. And I've been doing that since I was pregnant with my second-born. I kind of relate everything to all of my pregnancies right now in this stage of life that I'm in. So my second-born is now 9. So I was pregnant with her. So it's about 10 years now that I've been leading that. I think I took it over from Dan Wilt, who had it before me for a season. So he is one of my mentors and a great friend. And it was so great to be able to work with him for a season just on the team.
Sure.
And then I took over in, I guess that was 2014.
Okay. And tell us about your different levels of staffing. Like, has it been volunteer? Have you been paid a little bit? Have you been full-time? Like, what have the different levels been throughout the years of doing it?
Yeah, I think probably for the first little bit when I was just serving as a volunteer on the team, obviously that was not paid. That was a volunteer. And then as I took over the kind of lead role, kind of overseeing the team, it was a stipend situation where I was just expected a certain number of hours a week, and it was pretty low, honestly. And then I would manage Sunday morning, and that was pretty much all. And that was probably for the majority of the time that I've been overseeing. It was a very Sunday morning management role. I would pastor, obviously, through like the Sunday morning set, but I wasn't super hands-on with the team. There was a little bit here and there, but so that was my role. And I've, in the last probably year or two, transitioned into more of I'm feeling the Lord drawing me into more. And I've expressed that. I expressed that to our senior leadership, our senior pastor at the time. And he was like, let's go for it. Let's up your hours. Let's expect more. And so I've been leaning into that. So now I'm at a little bit more of a salaried position, but just still part-time. So it's 20 hours a week.
Okay.
So,
20.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
So have we moved out of the word stipend?
Yes, we are on salary.
Stipend is such
part-time.
a church word.
It really is. What is that? Yeah.
It's like a kind way of saying, we're going to underpay you, and we have this special word for it.
Yes. So that is not me anymore, thank God.
Okay, so you're at 20, and tell us a little bit about your church just went through a pastoral transition.
Yeah.
What went down? What happened?
Yeah, so we ministered with John and Katie Stearns for a really long time. I was on their team, and again, I said we've been there 17 years. So up until the last 6 months, it was them. It was us and them kind of doing ministry together. And in January of this year, the reins were passed over to our good friends Grant and Sarah Pemberton, who have been leading the church since January, and it's been really exciting. It's been a very smooth transition. John and Kitty still attend church and are such a blessing and discipling people and leading people still in our midst. And so it's been really good.
Yeah, John and Kitty are legend. We're so thankful for them. They've really influenced so much, certainly in the Southeast, but just in so many huge ways. Certainly for you, for me, just a gift to the church.
Yep.
So it doesn't surprise me that they're still hanging on and worshiping after giving the keys away to the Pembertons. That's amazing.
Kitty's still on the worship team. She still plays keys.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm loving that.
That's so cool. Okay, so what's changed for you now that they've added? Because Sarah's kind of a worship leader too. Like she was the worship leader in other contexts. Like, so how does that work?
It's interesting because this is the thing. When the Pembertons came, they were so excited about the team that was already there.
Gotcha.
And they just came in with full force behind everybody that was already there and just affirmed the way that they were already serving. They had no agendas around like shifting staff other than to grow it and to create more staff and to develop our teams more. So they fully came in. They actually changed my role from overseer to pastor. So that felt really exciting for me to be just shifting into actual pastor title.
Wow.
So worship pastor is the title. And it's strange. For a while, I would just kind of joke about it as I would introduce, and Grant came in and was like, no, Kat, worship pastor. That's your name. That's your title. So
That's amazing.
And Sarah and him are co-leading the church. So they're kind of overseeing Sarah is super involved in the day-to-day and co-pastoring with Grant. So it's an incredible team. They work really well together.
Amazing. And you guys are living in this beautiful time of growth. Like the church has gone from 1 services to 2. What does that feel like? That's got to be amazing.
I got very used to just 1 service. 2 services has been a shift. It's been an interesting shift from just like stamina and understanding of how to lead through multiple services and discern what the Lord is doing in both services. It's been really fun. It's really exciting to see the growth, honestly. I mean, it's just, it's really fun. So growth on the team, growth in the church, growth on every side, seeing the Lord move in ministry and all of that's been really, really exciting.
What a gift that you've just been grinding away for 17 years, faithfully serving in so many ways, and this new birth of something is happening in the church that is honoring the past. Like it's not a blow up. It's like this grow up. It's a grow up of this church, and you get to experience it. Like you weren't removed. You weren't kicked off to the side, but you get to participate in this new season. It's it's pretty crazy. It's really fun. Part of me is like, man, 17 years of just grinding away. What was it all for? And I'm not saying that there's honestly, there's so much beauty in just being faithful and obedient to whatever size church you're in and all of that. I mean, I know. But it is fun to kind of put some new tires on it and see how it runs is what it kind of feels like since we're sitting in a minivan. So before we go over your week, maybe the specifics of it, what's the favorite part of your job, of that 20-hour-a-week worship job? What's the favorite part of what you do during the week?
Number one, it would be ministering with people that I love. I love the relationships that I've been able to develop. I mean, I'm good friends with Grant and Sarah. I'm good friends with Michael and Mary Stearns who are there, and been around a lot of the people on the team for a long time. So it's really fun to do ministry with people that you have deep relationship with. There's this saying that the kingdom moves at the speed of relationship. And I just feel that there is a very exciting thing happening with these relationships and how we minister together. So that's probably top one. Even getting to know the new people is one of my favorite things that I've been trying to do more of, is like, as we add people to the team, being super intentional about taking them out to coffee, reaching out to them, connecting with them and their families. It's been a really fun, that's probably one of my favorite sides of it. Obviously, for me also is just literally when the Lord moves in worship. That's my favorite. Like when you do the work and you prepare and you're kind of like, maybe oftentimes for me, it's when I'm feeling the most weak, when I'm feeling the most like, just like not wanting to do it. And then the Lord just shows up in such an incredible way in our congregation and in worship, and he moves in power. Those are the times that I look forward to. And I always come in with the expectancy that he's going to move, but never with an expectation of like, it has to look this way or it's going to go this way. So those are the things I love. That
literally is the Vineyard way. Like, we expect Disney World, but sometimes we just get Lake Winnie, Passaga.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most people don't understand that reference.
I don't know what that means.
It's like the 70s amusement park that's still open in 2024.
Okay. Wow. Jeez.
Like they take
I would not
tickets,
ride that roller coaster.
Yeah. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so it's Monday morning. Your eyeballs open up. I mean, in addition to being a mom and all the things, like ministry-wise, what's going down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Like, give us a little idea of the rhythm of the week.
Yeah. So Monday is kind of a quiet day for our church. It's kind of traditionally the day a lot of people will take as their day off.
Amazing.
On staff. But there are other people that don't take it off. So that's not fully true. So we've actually this summer, we've added, since we are a growing church and right as we're moving into summer, we have all these new people engaging with our church. We've added a thing on Monday nights called Overflow. So that's really kind of a overflow of what's happening on Sunday morning. Grant and Sarah, basically, we do 30 minutes of worship.
Cool.
And then we roll into 30 minutes of teaching, 30 minutes of small group kind of devotional gathering and group time, and then 30 minutes of activation. So they've been going through like hearing the voice of God, prophetic words, healing, dreams, deliverance. So all kinds of different aspects. That's what Monday has been holding this summer, but it hasn't always been that way. So Monday is usually pretty chill.
Cool.
Tuesdays are staff meeting days.
Staff meeting.
Yeah. So we all get there around 9 is when the staff meeting starts. And we do a rundown of just what happened on Sunday.
Cool.
We do a Sunday breakdown. Sunday, let's talk about the good, the bad. Who's in that meeting? It's me, Grant, Sarah, Michael Stearns.
Youth.
He's over our student ministries and discipleship.
Worship. Youth.
Senior pastor, youth. Tracy, who is our admin. Kelly Anderley, who is our kids ministry pastor. And then we also have Barry and Camille Babb, who are overseeing our small groups and home groups. And let me see, I'm walking through the room in my brain. Who else is there? I think that's it.
Okay.
No. Lane. Golly, Lane is there. Lane Rogers. He's our, he oversees our tech. He's our audio
that's
visual.
A party. Okay, so that's a party for staff meeting.
No, it's great. Okay. It's great. It's really good. So we actually have been using this system, which is, I wish I remembered the name of the book because Grant made us all read it. It's a book. It's like a business book, and they have this system where you can kind of track metrics.
Is it Leoncini, Patrick?
No.
Is it the Advantage? Okay, it's something else.
It starts with an F. I feel like it's called like
that's great.
Fragment or something. I can't remember.
Cool. But you're going through a grid, which my gosh is so helpful.
It really is.
Any of those
metrics,
business things.
Yeah, and we all log in to this meeting and we're all there on our laptops and we talk through what
so
happened.
It's not a live meeting. It's Zoom.
It's a live meeting. No, we're all live, but we all get on.
Okay, cool.
So you could Zoom in, and still join the meeting, but usually people show up. So and then we talk through what the good, the bad, the ugly. Then we calendar for the future.
Okay, so you talk about the previous Sunday.
We talk about the previous Sunday.
Okay, cool.
How many people were there? How many people received ministry? What testimonies happened? We're still small enough where we can we have a pretty good pulse in that crew of people on what's happening in the church.
Okay.
And, what balls were dropped? Did we forget to push our YouVersion thing live? Was the logo in the wrong place? Was there nobody at the kids ministry table when the guest arrived with the 17 kids? Those kinds of things. Yep. So we talk through all of it, and then we roll into calendaring.
Cool.
And just future planning, and that meeting ends. It's been a really tight schedule. It's been an hour and a half. We could spend 3 hours, honestly, but the hour and a half has been a good constraint for us.
Cool.
And then we do what is called staff church. So that is at 10:30. We'll have an outside person come in. We'll do some worship. It's usually Sarah. Sarah leads worship for that, which is nice to have a little break.
Yeah.
Sarah leads worship. And then either this outside person will share a word or just pray for us or of lead us through some sort of spiritual formation exercise or prayer time.
Wow.
And then that goes to noon.
Yep.
And then at noon, we break into small group meetings where it's like I'll have my one-on-one worship meeting with Grant, and then I'll have meetings with other people around the building to just work through different logistics.
Cool.
So, and that my day usually ends around 2:30, 3.
Cool.
And then we head home and kind of work from where we need to.
You get a lot of stuff done that day.
We do. It's very productive.
That's interesting, the little staff church moment. I've been working with this Presbyterian church for about a year, and I go to their staff meeting to help them with worship. And every week, this is very Presbyterian, but every week they do a Bible study. So they pull, we do all the staff stuff, then they pull out a Bible study, and we've been going through the book of Luke for over a year, and we just read one little chunk of it, and then we exegete it and talk through it. But I think back over the year, I'm like, dude, I have been in a Bible study at it's a kind of a drag. In the beginning, it was like, really, bro, can't we just get some stuff done?
No, it's hard to shift. It's a hard shift. Because we're in go mode.
Sure.
We're talking about things, and we all want to. We're just chomping at the bit, ready to work. And then it's and now we're going to worship.
Yeah,
and we're going to pray.
Kind of stop the machine.
And I've had some of the most impactful encounters with the Lord in staff church. Honestly, there's been some incredible prayer times. I've seen some unbelievable healings. Prayed for somebody's leg in staff church, and it grew out. It was unbelievable. In my hand, I watched it grow out. So
okay, well, I think
staff
stuff. Church might be the hot tip of this whole
staff
podcast episode for some of you guys.
It's good.
Okay, so Tuesday happens. By the end of Tuesday, are the songs picked? Are the bass players known? Has all that happened yet, or is that still going to go down? Yeah.
So I schedule our team quarterly. I think you told me to do that long ago, and I have been stuck on this quarterly schedule thing. Okay. It's been really good for my brain to kind of set it and forget it.
The people and the songs, or just
no,
the people?
Not the songs. Oh, okay. No, just the people. So the people know what their schedule is, but the set goes out. I try and get that out by Wednesday. That's my key, is by Wednesday sometime during the day.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And what's are you guys planning center, worship team? What's your admin world?
We're both. We have both, which is honestly probably frustrating for half the team, but I adore worship team. Yeah. I adore it. And I love being able to, there are certain functionalities in it that I love. Yeah. But everybody wants us to move over to planning center, but I'm just kind of holding on. We use both.
Yeah, that's amazing. Jonathan Kuhl, in his week in a life, he's also planning center / worship team. And actually, I believe it to be the idealized system for 2024 is because planning center owns the space for volunteers, letting the volunteers know who and when, and having the whole church on that system. So if you're changing diapers or running sound that week.
Yes.
But the song part of planning center is not intuitive, whereas worship team owns that space. They literally they own the songs, so you can put the songs in without having to convert them. So that's actually cool. So song delivery is worshipteam.com. Volunteer dispersion is planning center.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Any other admin tools you use? Are you text person? Are you texting your team?
Yeah, we do use what is that text system called? I don't really text my team through the system. We do have a system that our church uses, but I just text them directly. I have my team. I think our team is about 33 people.
Wowzers.
So it's a good group of people. And so I usually just text them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, anything significant happening on those days rhythmically?
Yeah. We have a worship team small group on Thursdays. Wow. So we host that at our house. And
say more.
It's a beautiful thing. It's actually that's relatively new. It's probably been 3-4 months now. Okay. But there was just this moment where we realized okay, relationally, some of us are super deep, but there are some people on the fringes. And also, all we're doing is worshiping together on a stage.
Yep.
We need to get off the stage and worship together in a less platformy way, I guess, for lack of a better word, off the platform. And it has been unbelievable. We're not just worshiping. We're going through a book together. We're talking about worship. We're talking about where our hearts, when it comes to the call of worship, to the call of leading worship, for are we called? Are we sacrificing things? What is so
and this is of the 33 worship people, how many come?
It's really fascinating. We have, so it's also been a way of pulling new people in. This is kind of the funnel, part of the funnel of bringing new people in that are interested. It's join us at our small group. Okay. Are you going to drive 10 miles into the country down one lane tunnels to get to my house. Are you really committed? No, not really. That's not what we're doing. But we are trying to welcome people through that means. And so we've had a lot of new people coming.
Okay.
And we've had, I would say we average about 12 to 15 people each week that show up. So it's not the full team showing up, but there's different facets of the team showing up, and new people and old people. And it's been really
midweek rehearsal, like you're just doing small groups.
Nope.
Like go to small group. Okay.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's really important. That might be surprising for a lot of people that would think, oh, Nashville, you guys are probably doing clicks and tracks and lights and fog and doing all the things, but not so much.
Oh, no. No, we're not doing that. No. And the small group is only every other week too, because it's not, it's on the opposite weeks of overflow, which I appreciate, so that I'm not, on every single night of the week doing something. Yeah.
Any like one-on-ones or rhythms that you have just pastoring your little folks there, like the 33?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a part of it that I'm really enjoying right now is I've been trying to be more intentional with connecting with people out, just taking them to lunch.
Yeah.
So because of the 20-hour constraint, I shoot for one a week.
Cool.
One connection point, like one-on-one once a week. And I'm texting people all the time and checking in on them and seeing how things are going. But it's usually, so like I'm a female worship pastor. I have a large crew that's male.
Yeah.
So I try and connect with their whole families. And if they're single, I send them to Grant and Michael for discipleship. Yeah. So we've got kind of a system of like splitting the team to disciple and connect. And
that's good.
And then they can also obviously plug in with our small group. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how I do that once a week.
Yeah. The question is like 34 years. I won't ask you how old you are, but you're 30 something.
I'm 39.
You're 39,
I'll own
mom. And you've been at the church, you've been leading worship, so you know what it's like to be a 29-year-old mom and have a 67-year-old grumpy old studio musician that you're in charge of pastoring.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
And that's weird, right? Like how do you do that? You just said you kind of try to do it within a family systems, right?
Family units, and then creating space where we can all come together.
That's awesome.
And just fellowship in larger groups, and then try and connect in with those people in those spaces. So, yeah.
And you, as a woman, a younger woman, have authority in these people's lives. Like they entrust you to pastor them and shepherd them.
Yes, I think so. And I feel that they have a tremendous amount of trust and respect for me, I think. And
awesome.
I'm really thankful. And it's not across the board. Obviously we're all people. We have human emotions and stuff, and things will flare up in worship teams. But it's overall been a very low drama team, which I'm really thankful for. People just serve so faithfully. That's awesome. Just with so much, just faithful. That's all I can say. Faithful people showing up, doing the thing.
That's cool.
And faithful and hungry and leading the team together is what it feels like. It feels like, I couldn't do it without the team. Yeah. Like I don't want to do it without the team. So
that's amazing. So when does ProPresenter, lyrics, printing up charts, getting out extra music stands, when does all that go down?
Yeah. So we, again, send the set out on Wednesdays, and I always include our audiovisual team on that set. So they're in the system. They get the notification at the same time. We have some really awesome team that does team running our lyrics. Cool. There's a handful of really good, dedicated people that they show up at the same time that we show up for rehearsal on Sunday morning to load it in and make sure everything's there. Our sound guys, it all kind of, I think the majority of it happens on Sunday morning, but if things have shifted throughout the week, because there will be the occasional wedding or some special event that will shift our stage. I try and my team or somebody from my team will try and stop by on Saturday night to make sure everything's there and in the right place. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Sunday morning, what's your ritual personally? Morning. Like what's Kat's ritual for Sunday morning?
Yeah, so that has changed because we used to be a one service team, and it still felt early even with just one service, getting up early. So our practices are on Sunday morning before the service. We don't have a midweek rehearsal, as you noted. So I get up at 5. I have to, I'm a slow waker upper. I'm not a morning person. I'm not. That's partially why we homeschool our kids, is so that I don't have to get out the door for school every day. So yeah, I get up at 5. I'm a slow waker upper. I drink tons of water. Actually, that really starts on Saturday. That's my biggest cue for vocals, for vocalists, is if you're leading on a Sunday, drink your water on Saturday. Put some electrolytes in it.
Amen.
Yeah. So it's important to take care of our vocal instrument. Just like you would give a tune-up and all of that to your guitar. Yep. You need to make sure you're caring for your vocal cords and all of that involved with that. That's your body. It's your body. So anyways, starts on Saturday with drinking water, going to bed early, get up at 5 on Sunday, go through my whole morning, getting ready, and head to the church. I have to be at the church at 6:30.
Okay.
Practice starts at 7.
Wow.
So I get there at 6:30 and unlock the building, print the charts. Yeah. Try and get myself set up before the team gets there. You know, some days are better than others, but so that's pretty much how that works. And the sound guy usually is the next person to come. Yep. And then we've got a few eager beavers that are always there at the same time as me at 6:30, and it's amazing. And and then we have our downbeat for practice, which starts with prayer at 7 a.m.
Amazing.
So we gather, we pray. I always like to take my in-ears out, because we're all plugged in and tuned up and testing our mics. So I take my in-ears out and we turn towards each other and have a moment of real prayer. Like, I think that is just the most important part of Sunday morning, is the prayer that's happening throughout. So it's not just like, God bless our rehearsal, thank you, Jesus, moving on, let's start. We really linger. And I actually, I take the time in my drive too, on the way in, to number one, warm up my vocal cords. I do a little vocal routine. So I was a vocal major in college, so I'm very I have vocal minor, music business major. But so I'm very adamant about making sure you're not singing without at least a small warm up. Just give it a little something before you just jump in cold. Mm-hmm. So I warm up on my way in, and then I'm praying on the way in too, and I'm asking the Lord, Jesus, is there anything for our team this morning? And sometimes it'll just be a word. Sometimes it'll be specifically for somebody. Sometimes it'll just be an encouragement to fix our eyes on Jesus and to lead, from a place of hunger and a place of desire, and to not worry what the congregation's doing, not get caught up in that, because that's the whole thing. It's like, oh gosh, are they responding? Is the Lord doing anything? So, so that's what I do on the way in. And then we start with prayer. And our rehearsal goes from 7 until 8:15. Cool. It's pretty tight rehearsal. Yeah. We don't, it doesn't, there's not a lot of, we try and keep it pretty relaxed, honestly. I don't like to get into the stress of and I know some songs have more need for it than others, but I like to simplify songs if they even have those more complicated, formatting things. So
less paralysis of analysis.
Yes,
and just kind of get
simplify.
The spirit.
Yep. Yeah.
And church starts at 9?
Yeah, the first service starts at 9. So we end practice at 8:15. Cool. And then there's a full, there's a leadership touch base at 8:25, where it's like the leaders, the worship leader, pastor, anybody running anything in the church comes together, make sure we know the flow. And then at 8:30, it's our intercession time. So this morning is covered in prayer. So we come together with our intercessors, the whole team. I expect the whole team to be there in the room when we're praying, the worship team, and we'll just pray over the morning. We'll pray over the service. We'll pray over, we'll ask the Lord for prophetic words for the service. And that's when we'll, give those to the pastor, and he can share them when he thinks it's necessary, or maybe the Lord will reveal something that needs to come out in worship. And that'll be that moment where I'll kind of pivot and say something that I feel the Lord is doing in our church in the moment in worship. So so then we have prayer time from 8:30 to about 8:45, and then church starts at 9.
Okay. So. And then is there a space where the musicians sleep during the second sermon? Do they come back? Do you let them leave after the second set?
We let them leave.
Okay,
let them leave. We do, instead of having a worship ministry song at the end, we put on soaking music. Cool. It just makes it easier.
That really honors their time.
We have a small green room. So our church is going through tons of changes, even just physically. We are shifting. We've lost all the office space. It's all kids space now, because we are just under constraints. We have too many kids and too small of spaces. So we're doing a lot of construction. So we did have a green room, But now our green room is Michael's office, which is the last standing office, Michael Stern's. So we all can go sit and just breathe if we need a minute. We put some snacks out there, some water.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just note that, like, I recognize, like, you're giving the band the spiritual weight of leading more than just the musical part.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it would drive me nuts. I would want to practice more and pray less.
Yeah.
Because it's just, that's the way I think. I think in that music production mindset. But the fact that you've designed it to where the team starts with prayer and then they're a part of that intercessory time, like, that's really cool and beautiful. It's different than a lot of other spaces would be. Like, we need more time to practice. Whereas you're giving them that responsibility, which I think is very cool and probably unique.
Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, I just knowing you and knowing the Pemberton, knowing those values in you guys, I can see why that in a 2-service scenario, that would be the predominant, and even like your rhythms throughout the week, like the staff church thing, you know, it's like, these are like intentional ways of saying, hey, we are not going to lose the plot here.
Yeah.
Right. And make this a performance-oriented place, but this is going to be a presence, you know, not to the same old trope, but make it more presence-oriented to where we're going to say, let's just not talk about it and perform it and do a theater of the church, but like, let's actually invite the kingdom into the space.
We like to call the Sunday morning, we're basically pulling off a full Broadway production is what it feels like. But we can't let it actually be that. We can't let it actually be a Broadway production, even though it feels like on a small scale, that's what we're doing. It's like lights, it's music, it's a sermon, it's a thing. It's so I think it's really important. It's an important value on my team that people aren't leading without a real connection with Jesus. Like we can't, I know everybody has different philosophies, but we have a strong, like, you have to be a believer. You have to be pursuing the Lord. You have to be pursuing this community and this church and these people. Not only do we expect our team to be at that intercessory prayer time at 8:30, we expect them to sit through at least one of the sermons. We really want them to be talking to people at church and not just sneaking off to the green room and sitting there the whole time. So we have a high value and a high expectation standard for our team. And I think of making it go to the heart
that's great.
of what is important.
So church is done. Any common rhythms? Like, do you always go out to eat with people after church? Do you go directly home and sleep? Like, what's your Sunday balance look like? Yeah.
Since going to 2 services, I'm there for a long time on Sundays and people like to hang and chat, and we'll stay for the whole hang chat.
Okay.
But then I go home.
Okay.
And I take a nap. And my husband's really great at making space for me to do that because he's managing the 4 kids on Sunday morning, and he's arriving, with the 4 kids. Sometimes they don't even have shoes on, and I don't even care.
That's awesome.
Our youngest, our 5-year-old, his name is Wilder though, so it makes sense for him to not have shoes occasionally. So he is even good to just continue that care for me and say, Kat, take a nap, and I'll take a nice little nap. And then we often Sunday nights have just a regroup with some of the pastors and like our friends Grant and Sarah. We see them far too much, and sometimes on Sunday they'll come over and we'll be like, guys, what's going on? How was today? What do we think? What's the Lord doing? Wow. It's really fun. So we love it.
Cool deal. Yeah. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for walking it out and just giving us a glimpse of what it looks like. That's really helpful. I think we need some different models. We need to hold less precious the rhythms we've held for years and maybe consider, wow, what would it look like to study the Bible in staff meeting and to pray and to worship and to do a Monday night encounter night? That's so beautiful. There's so many cool ideas in there. And for you as a mom, a homeschool mom, doing all that you're doing, that's just a beautiful picture. Thanks for being you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for hanging out on the Ferment. And anything else you want to say to the worship leaders of the world?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I was just thinking about this week. We're at the conference And there's a lot of hunger happening in the church right now, and this desire for this move of the Lord to come. There's this like Maranatha cry that's happening, I think, across the church, not just Vineyard.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that the Lord has been really speaking to me in this, because I think a lot of times our hunger can turn into this like desperation and like do more, work more, be more. But I feel like the Lord was revealing to me like, hey, my presence is going to come when there is a lack of striving. Like if you can stop striving,
that's cool,
and still keep that hunger.
Yep.
Still chasing after me, but not from a place of striving.
Yeah. That's
kind of what I've been sensing just overall for our church, for me, is stop striving. Go for my heart. Love me.
Yeah.
and yeah, continue to pray, Maranatha, Lord, we need you.
I love it.
Come, Lord. So
thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
Well, everybody, have a great week. Thanks for hanging out with the Ferment. Take it easy.
Hey everyone, Casey Corum here, producer of the podcast. Thanks for listening. As always, if you've been enjoying the podcast, here's a few ways you can help us. First of all, leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice. This helps more people find us. Also, connect with us on social media, Instagram at the Ferment Podcast and Twitter at FermentCast. All right, everyone, thanks for listening. See you next week. Peace.